Story 1. My ability to forget something is completely disconnected from its importance to me. I have forgotten Christmas, my own birthday, and Halloween. Story 2. I don't have a deficit of attention. I have a deficit in my ability to choose how to allocate that attention. Story 3. Sometimes I sit around all day doing nothing because I have so many tasks I feel I need to complete, and I get stuck in a state of not knowing which to do first or how to start. It's not laziness. I genuinely want to be productive, but I fail to take action because I can't decide what to do. Story 4. A lot of the time, it's the executive dysfunction that truly hinders you, not the focus problems. If I'm having a bad day, suddenly every minor decision seems incredibly difficult to handle, even if I logically know it's not. It's like that feeling in a dream of trying to run but being stuck in molasses, but with your brain. If someone asked you to draw a functional diagram to create a space rocket, it's not that you don't know the answer. You don't even know how to go about finding the answer. That's what deciding whether to go to the gym or do the dishes first feels like sometimes. Is it like this all the time? No, I'm a reasonable and intelligent person. But sometimes I feel as if my brain just pulls its own plug, and that's what I'm stuck with. Honesty was ruining my life before I got diagnosed and medicated. You feel like you're going crazy because how do you explain that without being labeled lazy or losing your mind if you don't have the framework for understanding this? Story 5. If I have something planned at any point in the day, nothing else can be done until it is over. A combination of time blindness and executive dysfunction, this state does not discriminate. Anything I could do beforehand would take too long. I physically cannot do things. I want to do them, but my brain doesn't care. It's like being possessed by a very strict alarm clock. Story 6. Object permanence, also known as out of sight, out of mind, applies to people as well. I have a lot to discuss right now. Story 7. I cannot stop the hyperfocus train until it stops itself. Please do not interrupt me when I am deeply focused, unless it is necessary. I will try very hard not to react negatively, but eventually I might. If I receive one more question while I am making dinner. Story 8. Sometimes the whirlwind inside my mind is so intense that I have no idea what I am thinking or feeling. I just sit here, unable to move, and have no idea what to do next. Story 9. I wish people without attention deficit hyperactivity disorder would stop claiming the condition for every inconsiderate or rude action they make. It's dismissive and belittling to those of us who have been diagnosed by a licensed professional. Those of us with attention deficit hyperactivity disorder constantly overanalyze our actions because we do not want to be perceived as rude, dismissive, or inconsiderate. Just because you read a small snippet or saw a clip on social media about attention deficit hyperactivity disorder that you moderately relate to does not mean you have the condition. Story 10. I'm not bored. I'm just unable to pay attention without getting distracted. I'm not ignoring you, and I am listening, but I may have gotten stuck on something you said or the way you expressed it. I got lost and now have no idea what you've been saying for the last 5 minutes. Maybe that's on you, though, because you talked for 5 minutes straight without taking a breath. Story 11. The difference between hyperactive type and inattentive type is significant. Just because I have attention deficit hyperactivity disorder does not mean I should be bouncing off the walls. Story 12. I will effectively forget that you exist. I still love you. I just don't have the mental capacity to maintain relationships without help. If you call me and say, I'm getting lunch and picking you up in 5 minutes, I'll be in the driveway when you arrive. It will be the best part of my week. Story 13. The first topic of your sentence might easily lead me to remember a related but ultimately pointless tangent, causing me to finish that thought just a few seconds into your explanation, and I might not catch much of it. I apologize in advance if I interrupt with such distractions. If you know someone with attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, you may recognize that distant stare when this happens. I notice it in my friends with ADHD and in myself and have learned to pause and regain their attention. Story 14. Something needing to be done is not enough motivation for me to do it. The dishes are dirty. Eventually, I will have to wash them, but I don't want to do that. It isn't fun or interesting, and the fact that the dishes are dirty means nothing to me if I can avoid using my kitchen instead. So I do that. The next thing I know, My sister wants to drop by in an hour, and I can't let her know that my dishes have been moldy in the sink for 3 months. That sudden jolt of shame-based motivation is the only thing that gets me started. Even though I've been spending every waking moment for 3 months thinking, I really need to get those dishes done. Those dishes will not get done until I have the exact right combination of shame, fear, and adrenaline to accomplish it. Story 15. I can have a fully engaging conversation with you while maintaining complete awareness of my surroundings, which can be exhausting. Whether I set my phone down, notice a child acting carelessly, or hear Nancy in a separate conversation asking for advice on something I can help with, I'm tuned into that as well. I can sense whether someone likes me or not, regardless of their behavior towards me. They could be the best masker in the world, and I would still know. Story 16. I have a unique mix of autism and attention deficit/hyperactivity disorder, which results in a humorous situation where I have strict routines and hyperfocus. However, all it takes is one distraction for everything to go out the window. I follow a morning routine that includes waking up, using the bathroom, checking the cat's food, showering, getting dressed, taking my medication, making breakfast, and watching some morning videos online. There have been times when I've been distracted during this routine, causing me to forget to take my medication. It's only later in the day that I might randomly remember or realize that I forgot to take it, especially if I notice the morning doses still remaining in the evening. It's crucial for me to stay on top of my medication, but if my routine is disrupted, I can completely forget about it as if it never existed. I also have specific methods for returning home and where I leave my keys. If I place things in a different spot, I struggle to remember their location. This can lead to stress, especially if my routine has been disrupted. Story 17. It's not cute, it's not fun, and it's not funny. It's not a quirky personality trait. I am paralyzed with indecision without medication. Then I start thinking about how unproductive I appear to others, and the self-loathing begins. I am constantly anxious, paranoid, and fearful that I am forgetting something, not doing the right thing, or messing something up. Story 18. I am not as careless as I appear. This is actually the best I can do, and I dislike it more than you could ever imagine because I cannot escape it. Story 19. I'm sorry if I don't text or call back. I don't hate you. I'm just trying to steer the chaos of my life without crashing. I'm late and will always underestimate the time. I can change my car shocks in an hour, but 6 hours later, time just slips away. Don't touch my mess. I know where everything goes in detail. Do you want to talk about useless information that I almost mastered until I got bored and moved on to a new hobby? How is everyone okay with going to work at the same place every day? It's hard to believe. I'm shaking my leg so I can give you my full attention, not because I'm nervous. Sorry if I sporadically decide that at 6 p.m. is the right time to start cleaning the bathroom, organizing the car, tidying the pantry, putting up that shelf, and rewiring the surround sound. It will be done, though. Story 20. I am dysfunctional. I barely eat and sleep. I struggle to feed myself, and it's frustrating. It's not just about being hyper. Story 21. Being easily distracted and unable to intentionally focus my attention on something applies not only to activities I dislike, but also to those I enjoy. Story 22. It's extremely tiring. When stuck in hyperfocus, hours fly by, and it's past midnight before I notice. When I'm not in that state, every little thing, including the nice activities like making breakfast or showering, can feel like insurmountable tasks, no matter how small they are broken down. Constantly switching between these perceptions of competence and incompetence, combined with sleep deprivation, wreaks havoc on my mental state. Story 23. If I don't do something right away, I will need to set a reminder for when I plan to complete the task. Otherwise, it won't come to mind. It's not that I forgot the task exists. It simply lacks the urgency for my mind to say, hey, you still need to do this. This applies to everything from chores to eating, which is detrimental for a diabetic. Story 24. When I am not interested in something or someone, I cannot pretend otherwise. When it comes to studying, it is difficult to learn new things when you simply do not want to. Story 25. Executive dysfunction. I promise I want to accomplish the task. I know I need to complete it. No amount of urging will help me get started. I assure you, I am internally expressing frustration with myself more than you ever could. Story 26. I heard everything you said. Just because I didn't look at you while I was sweeping, doing the dishes, searching for a book I couldn't find, preparing food, wondering about something unrelated, or asking you about something you said earlier in the conversation, doesn't mean I'm not paying attention. Story 27. We listen even when distracted at times. My family and friends have become annoyed because they think I am not listening, yet I can repeat everything they say. I am observant of people's body language. Just because I can get excited and talk does not mean I'm not interpreting the atmosphere. My energy and positivity are slightly intoxicating. When I walk into work, people pick up on my energy, and the overall mood elevates. Story 28. Stop calling it a superpower. It is not. The mental cost after an intense activity, followed by trying to integrate back into your world for the rest of the day, is quite high. Story 29. I'm not being lazy. I want to do what you asked me to, but I cannot physically force my body to do it. What do you mean it's been 2 weeks since you asked me? Wasn't that yesterday? Story 30. Executive dysfunction can hinder your ability to focus, regulate emotions, and coordinate movement. It can be especially debilitating when combined with overstimulation, fatigue, and sadness from life events. This condition is often misdiagnosed as severe depression, making it even more challenging to address. Story 31. We may come across as insincere or overly eager, but it is simply a manifestation of a manic, anxious, or overzealous personality trait. However, we are generally not insincere individuals. Story 32. I have some great advice that has helped me deal with my attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. Oh no, there is a fox in my garden. I wonder what city foxes eat. Can't be just trash because we have strong bins here. Don't worry, I will come back after I have researched this. Story 33. For the love of all things holy, I am not lazy, and I did not lie to you. I fully intended to do what I said I would do, and I wanted to do it too. However, my brain is essentially made of Swiss cheese, and I cannot control what falls through the holes and what manages to stick. That changes day by day. Do not begin any request with "just do this." If I could easily do anything when I wanted to, we would not be in this situation. The "just do it" option does not exist in my brain. Additionally, please do not tell me to get a planner, write it down, or set an alarm on your phone, because I will become overwhelmed with frustration. Emotional dysregulation is another part of attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, so I am not joking when I say that frustration can escalate. Story 34. Just because I don't function well in a certain working environment, it doesn't mean that I'm incapable or lazy. In sports terms, I'm not a sprinter, so stop making me run the 100 meters and then complaining when my time isn't what you want it to be. Story 35. I'm not ignoring you or not responding to you. My thoughts are so loud and unyielding that I easily get distracted by them. It isn't fun, and it's very annoying because even if I try to clear my head, I cannot stop. I just need people to repeat themselves when I ask, and I ask kindly. It's not an insult. I consider this a disability. I also agree that the importance of something does not affect my ability to remember it. Story 36. Attention deficit hyperactivity disorder presents differently in men and women. I do not behave like a young boy with attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. I am an adult woman. Being a high masker does not mean I have mild attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. I struggle. I have just learned to conceal it. Story 37. I'm not ignoring you. I just can't focus on more than one thing at a time. If the TV isn't paused, I don't register what you're saying at all. Story 38. My thought process is often chaotic, making it easy for me to get distracted. Therefore, I do not like to multitask. I feel that people without attention deficit hyperactivity disorder do not understand this phenomenon and assume that those of us with the condition are simply incompetent or, even worse, lazy. I am skilled at many things, but managing and balancing multiple tasks simultaneously is challenging. That's why I prefer to work alone. It allows me to decide how to allocate my time without the pressure to perform quickly by someone else's standards. I also dislike when people interfere because that can be distracting. My mother dislikes that I cannot multitask. For example, when I cook, I prefer to complete tasks separately rather than attempt multiple things at once. If I don't, I risk forgetting something, leading to overcooking or burning. She struggles to understand this about me and becomes frustrated with how much longer I take to complete tasks compared to her. It is demoralizing because I try so hard, yet it feels like nothing I do is ever good enough. I can create a meal just as good, if not better, but that feels insignificant due to the time it takes and how slow I am perceived to be. Story 39. I am reacting strongly to criticism. Yes. Being unable to do something or making mistakes affects me deeply. It breaks me like nothing else. My boss once thought I lost someone because I was sobbing. Why was I sobbing? I failed to fix a bike's chain at my workplace, and the crushing weight of my inability is always on my mind. Story 40. The fragility between overstimulation and understimulation aspects. The prevalence of depression and anhedonia among individuals with attention deficit/hyperactivity disorder. Story 41. I have a good friend who was recently diagnosed and has started treatment. She experienced a mourning period as she faced the realization of how different her life might have been if she had been treated sooner. I have bipolar disorder type 2, and we share some characteristics. I have significant executive function deficits, which lead to feeling overwhelmed and eventually experiencing paralysis. However, this paralysis is only on the outside. Internally, I feel turmoil and anguish. Story 42. The complete absence of habit formation. I didn't even realize people can perform tasks like brushing their teeth on autopilot. If I don't actively think about doing something or have a prompt for it, then it doesn't get done. Just because I prefer to do something daily does not automatically mean it's a habit. I'm simply doing it regularly, as contradictory as that sounds. Story 43. When you share a story and I share a similar experience, I'm not trying to make it about me or one-up you. I'm just trying to relate through a shared experience. This is something I didn't figure out regarding frustrated individuals until recently. Story 44. It's not a cute little quirk. It's an often debilitating neurodevelopmental disability, to the point that those of us with severe attention deficit hyperactivity disorder will live, on average, 10 to 15 years less than our neurotypical counterparts. It costs more money to have attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. Can devastate relationships. We are statistically likely to develop substance abuse problems and more likely to take our own lives. What makes all of this even worse is constantly hearing from people, well, we are all a little inattentive sometimes. Yes, sometimes. The difference is that it affects me every moment of every day of my entire life, and I am exhausted. I will always be exhausted from now until the day I die. Story 45. I wish people without ADHD would realize how dull their conversations can be. After a couple of minutes, I want to do something else, but Martha keeps going on about her dog that has a cold. My mind starts to wander. Story 46. Many of us have poor interoception. For example, I wore pull-ups at night until the 8th grade and experienced bedwetting until I was 13. This is just one of many such examples. Story 47. It's not that I want to ignore you. It's that I can't focus enough on things, and I will almost always forget anything you tell me to remember or do. It's not on purpose, but because I literally cannot remember it. Story 48. If you want me to remember something you just said but didn't allow me to write it down, then you didn't want me to remember anything you just said. Story 49. Is it more of an attention disorder than a deficit? Your attention is reserved for certain things and non-existent for others. I also recently read a quote stating that the attention deficit hyperactivity disorder brain derives from the hunters and warriors of the past. Our ability to focus only during critical moments makes sense. Story 50. Just because I'm doing two things at once, like drawing, knitting, or listening to music, does not mean that I am not concentrating on what I'm doing. A lack of stimulation makes it difficult for me to pay attention. Story 51. If something is new, It piques my curiosity enough to learn just enough to not be an expert in it. This is why I can knit, crochet, quilt, draw, paint, build kitchen cabinets from scratch, create reports in Power Business Intelligence, write unfinished novels, and install wood floors. This is also why I am great at trivia and have a wealth of random knowledge in my brain. I do a deep dive on the most random topics. If something has to be done, I will wait until it is almost an emergency to take action. The birthday gift I bought was purchased on the way to the party, but I knew what I would get you the moment you invited me. I would write 5-page essays in one go with no revisions the night before they were due. However, I would think about them for weeks, so I was mentally drafting them already. If something is impossible, I have the determination to find a way to make it possible. This has been most helpful in my career, as I excel at problem solving. If I have an interest in something or I am passionate about it, I will make time for it. However, I have no control over what sparks my interest. I enjoy collecting rocks and love to hunt for agates. I also enjoy foraging, so picking fruits or vegetables is just as fun as thrift store shopping. When these criteria are met, I can hyperfocus to the extent that I ignore what my body needs. Without extended-release Adderall, I engage in excessive context switching and task swapping during the day. I accomplish a lot across various tasks, but not enough on the most important ones. I am the person who responds to your email or chat right away, not because I am not busy, but because I am easily distracted from what I should be doing. Story 52. Some of us are gifted too. We often feel simultaneously like the smartest and the stupidest person in the room. This situation can negatively affect our mental health. Story 53. Sometimes I can be having a conversation with you, looking you in the face, listening to what you say and comprehending it, and then have it fall completely out of my memory when it comes time to respond. Please do not get upset when I ask you to repeat yourself. A lot of my life is spent having a vague suspicion that I am forgetting something that will eventually cause problems. There's a sort of fatalism that develops when that happens. If you suspect you have attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, getting a diagnosis and treatment can be life-changing. It probably saved my marriage, as my wife suddenly understood I wasn't being forgetful or lazy on purpose. I got the tools I needed to manage it more effectively, and it definitely saved my job, as the unexpected tasks I had forgotten about hitting their deadlines slowly stopped causing issues. Story 54. I'm not ignoring you if I'm reading while we talk. It actually helps me focus on what you're saying. Story 55. I may seem careless at times, but everything in my life is tailored to managing attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. My job is supportive of my condition, my routine accommodates it, and how I organize my belongings is designed to help. I have everything set up to maintain control. Story 56. I have so many thoughts in my head, all at once, all the time. I literally cannot turn off my brain ever. The first time I took Adderall was when I was able to have just one thought in my head and be truly present in the moment. Story 57. We are not interrupting the conversation. We are engaging with what you are saying. We share experiences to show our understanding. Some people just want to express their problems without caring if anyone is listening. It seems they use others to relieve their issues, hoping for answers because they do not want to think for themselves. If you do not want me to engage, then why are you telling me? Complain to someone else. Story 58. I can forget things that I desperately need to do. Then I may remember randomly, and by the time I'm able to deal with it, I've forgotten it again. It's like it doesn't exist. If I write it down on paper, I have to remember to read it, which is no guarantee. If I set an alarm, I can read the reminder but forget by the time I've moved to a different room. Each time you see something, it sets off a train of thoughts. However, you can only hold 1 or 2 thoughts at a time, and then they disappear into nowhere. The only way I can remember is if I see something that triggers that train of thought. Nothing comes naturally. I have to manually remember everything. I have to remember to drive the speed limit, to feed myself, and to engage in hobbies that I enjoy. I'm driven by dopamine. Sometimes I can create a routine where I do something on the same day every day. But then one day, I will change it and never be able to follow that routine again. At the same time, if something has too many steps, I can't motivate myself to do it, even if it's something I like. I can sit in a room all day thinking, I need to move, I need to move, yet not move. It's as if there's an invisible wall stopping me. Some days I have moments where I don't face this problem, and I can suddenly do anything I want without the struggle. I usually try to accomplish as much as I can on those days. Story 59. I don't know if this is my attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, my autism, my anxiety, or something else entirely, but I wish people could understand that there is a barrier between knowing something needs to be done and being able to actually do it. Unfortunately, when I describe it, it is understood as if I don't want to do something, resulting in comments like, everyone has to do things they don't want to do. This barrier can impact everything. There have been times when I've been sitting on my porch reading while my dog sleeps next to me, and I feel I need to go to the bathroom. I just can't get up and do it, even though I know I'll be more comfortable afterward. That barrier can feel impossible to overcome. I hope I'm not rambling too much. Story 60. I don't care what meme you've read or reel you've watched. Attention deficit hyperactivity disorder is not my superpower. Inattentiveness, executive dysfunction, difficulty context switching, anxiety, brain fog. This is the worst powers and abilities entry Wikipedia has ever seen. There is no superpower here. None of this is a secret weapon in the fight against daily life. None of it. It doesn't help that being in the world this way has people making the same tired comments against you time and again. If you'd only apply yourself, you're just not fast enough or smart enough to work here. Just pick something and stick to it. Maybe you just need to drink more water, and so on. So no, forget all that. It's all downside. I don't care what your favorite influencer told you. Story 61. My head can't focus, except when we experience a surge of dopamine or adrenaline. I can be incredibly focused after being yelled at. So if I make a mistake and you yell at me, you achieve instant success. This is a strong incentive for parents to use a strict approach with their child because that's how you get them to function. However, that focus phase doesn't last very long. After that phase, I fall even deeper into a state of not being able to focus at all. So repeating the process doesn't work. Mom and Dad. Story 62. How absolutely exhausting it can be. How badly I want to be able to just go do things, but my mind, body, and emotions are in lockdown because I am internally battling myself. Some days I don't want to do anything, but other days I want to do everything at once. I can't pick a starting point, so I spend the day bouncing around from task to task, feeling like I want to crawl out of my skin. The internal noise is deafening and overwhelming. I need some kind of distraction to drown out the thoughts, but that noise can sometimes overstimulate me. The number of extra tasks I need to complete and how obsessively I check, double-check, and remind myself about things to appear like a normally functioning person overwhelms me. My mother-in-law was shocked to learn I have inattentive attention deficit/hyperactivity disorder because I don't seem inattentive. When I explained the lengths I go to in order to mask it, she was shocked and very sympathetic. I am my own worst critic when things go wrong or slip through the cracks. I will incessantly beat myself up and struggle to let it go. My mind brings up my mistakes, as if it is trying to taunt me about how badly I failed. I cried when I forgot my son's backpack on the first day of school. Story 63. I tell you I'm hard of hearing because I can't hear the first half of most of your opening sentences. Get the attention of the person with attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. Speak directly to the person with attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. If I'm addressed unexpectedly, then 90% of the time I'm coming in partway and missing important information. Story 64. I'm not lazy. My executive dysfunction prevents me from doing enjoyable activities like watching a television show. I want to watch it, but I can't. Story 65. I have endless to-do lists that make me feel better after writing them, but then I never look at them again. I manage better with work tasks, but I have to keep 3 to-do lists just to refocus my mind. Additionally, I struggle with feelings of imposter syndrome and rejection sensitivity. I often ruminate on things I said, wondering if I was wrong. Logically, I know that no one remembers my words, yet I still obsess. Story 66. I can sit there screaming at myself in my head to just stand up and get started on a task for hours without being able to. There is a level of shame associated with this that is difficult to understand without experiencing it. Story 67. How we have low self-esteem and are very sensitive. I was diagnosed late and have been considered incompetent because I don't pick things up as quickly as others. The big issue for me is the regret for the type of life I could have had if I had been diagnosed sooner. It's a significant regret because many of the major mistakes in my life are due to attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. Story 68. Many individuals with attention deficit hyperactivity disorder operate based on an interest-based nervous system. This means that we engage in activities not out of importance but based on how enticing they are. To capture our interest, it is essential to make tasks appealing. Otherwise, we may lose interest completely. It's not a matter of laziness or defiance. It's simply how our brains and nervous systems function. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.